There are very few games that are still amazing after putting you through hell. The Last of Us is at the very top of that list. While watching the world crash and burn, we saw Joel and Ellie come together in the most wholesome way, and the craziest. HBO's best decision was to make a series out of the game. In this video, we'll talk about the new footage that matches the game and one change that we hope to see. So let's get into it. Let's start with the new footage of the show. The Last of Us is a really fun game to play, no doubt, but its plot, the gruesome details, and just the overall description of the characters put it at the top. It had all the qualities of being the perfect series, and we applaud HBO for recognizing that. While most of us have the entire gameplay memorized, the show has limited footage revealed, so we haven't seen much of what the show will feature. But throughout the production, fans have been promised an accurate adaptation of the game. HBO Max shared teasers for their upcoming 2023 slate, and The Last of Us fans were blessed with unique moments and new shots from previously teased scenes. Here's the thing though, the scenes have us in a chokehold. It's comforting to see the creators left all the butchering for the zombies only. The cinematography looks brilliant as we see Joel running from the chaos of the outbreak with his terrified daughter in his arms. Other than that, another scene showcased an extension of Ellie's running from a truck while shooting at it. If you haven't seen it yet, look it up. The scene shows up at the 40-second mark. Up next, how has the show replicated the game so far? When the trend of converting video games into series and movies started, gamers weren't impressed. Turning an intricate game into a basic and extremely fast-paced movie with popular characters doesn't do anything but disappoint. Yes, Uncharted, we're looking at you. So the fans have been getting a lot of verbal affirmations from the team behind the series after showing their concerns. Naturally, the fans of the game had expressed major concerns where they were afraid for their mental health, for if the show sucked, it'd leave a bitter taste. But the anxiety regarding that has been eased time and time again by HBO. Everything that they've shared from The Last of Us proves that their priorities are right and they're set on their aim of producing a game-accurate adaptation. Several of the scenes, emotions, the zombie-ridden world, and just the overall aesthetics match with the game almost perfectly. But that was all that we expected. It was the least they could do. The characters, however, are a whole different story. Joel and Ellie, along with others, lead the pot dramatically. Without an accurate representation of them, the show would have fallen flat in an instant. Fans are extremely attached to the pair, and there's nothing that they wouldn't sacrifice for them. Pedro Pascal, who'll take on the role of Joel, somehow resembles Joel despite not looking like him otherwise. So far, the biggest complaint has been the casting of Bella Ramsey as Ellie. She's talented, no doubt, but just doesn't look like Ellie. Fans even demanded that another actor replace her with Elliot Page, but not like anyone listened. Coming up, what does the show need to fix? The role of Ellie brought up a negative reaction from the fans, despite the generally positive responses. But other fans argued that as long as she displays Ellie's emotions perfectly, everything else can be overlooked. While the cast can't be replaced with the show coming out soon, there's another mistake from the game that the show can fix, and that involves the complicated character of Bill, played by Nick Offerman. Naughty Dog did an incredible job of showing humans, their major flaws, and differences. It's one of the best and scariest aspects of the game. The show is set to feature some of the best side characters, which gives them a chance to expand on their stories. We could essentially get another gameplay, but this time we just have to binge it all night instead of playing it. One of these side characters happens to be Bill. Bill is complicated, to put it nicely. His introduction is done in the game through Joel. Joel heads towards Bill to get a favor from him. Bill's a lone survivor in an entire town. To keep himself safe from monsters and people alike, he has his part of town booby-trapped. He doesn't appear for long, but he's a fan favorite for his loony and loner ways and his potential partner, and that's where the show can fill a gap. In addition to that, what do we know about Bill? You see, Nick Offerman's character was only helpful in helping Joel and Ellie get a car. That did happen, but in the brief interaction with Bill, as they got through the town, there's a bit of a backstory given to him. His past isn't explained for the most part, but it is implied that he's gay. In the game, Bill explains that he does have a car, but no battery in it. His working battery was stolen, and the only other one he can think of was in the zombie-ridden part of town. Without hesitating, Joel rushes to get it. When returning with the battery, they come across a house, and beware, it's not easy to hear, they find a man in a red shirt hanging by a rope. It's suggested that with the virus, many people ended up ending their lives for many reasons. This is seen a few times throughout the game. The man is recognized by Bill as his partner Frank. He writes a letter stating that he stole the battery, always disliked Bill, and more. This prompted interest from the fans, but we never saw the story continue. We did get Bill dropping a huge F-bomb back at Frank, which was fun. It was suggested that they both were in a relationship, but never confirmed. The game came out a decade ago, so it makes sense that they shadowed the then taboo topic. But times have changed. The show can please fans by including more about Bill. It being a series in 2023 gives it the leverage of having time and vulnerability. What's more, why does The Last of Us need good LGBTQ+ representation? Nick Offerman is a high-profile actor taking the role of Bill. His role would either be brief or would carry more weight to it due to his prevalence in the market, making his character bigger than just a supporting character. But HBO Max has some help. help. The Last of Us came out in 2013, but the game was a huge hit, so they have more parts, which include a prequel and a sequel. Both feature Ellie as a lesbian and display a couple of her relationships. The second part also touches on discrimination that the community faces. Using Bill to add this in the series would introduce a new part that's never been seen before, even in the games, but also stick religiously to the game. If the series can continue to derive such plots that don't stray too far from the game, it's a guaranteed hit. It could also explain why Bill lives a paranoid life away from the societies that survived. The Last of Us is one of the first games to introduce the queer community, so it's natural that the series follows it. It'll be slightly difficult to maneuver through the concept since they'd have to represent the community in a violent and dark world, but we're excited about it nonetheless. Moving on, the trailer revealed the first big change that we know of. Now guys, let's be real, they can't create an exact replica of the game. Last of Us was realistic enough to be a series anyway, with mind-blowing graphics and details. As much as it scares us, it'll have to have some changes that either add or remove some parts. Expanding on Bill is an example of the additions that they could make, but in the show's first look, we noticed one change, and while it seems small, it would lead to big changes. We see Joel and Ellie crossing a bridge during winter time, but in the game, Joel was fighting to stay alive due to a serious injury. At that time, gamers played as Ellie for the first time. She searched for medicines, hunted, killed a few zombies, and casually came across a cannibal. The teaser does feature a show where they reunite with blood on Ellie's face, which resembles the end of her journey alone, but Joel's seen alive and well during that time with no sign of the ambush that led to his injury. This wouldn't matter a lot since the characters do get hurt all the time, but wintertime is pretty essential to the plot. This also makes seeing Ellie's POV uncertain. With this change, there could be changes to the plot. David and his band of cannibals could become the antagonist, or maybe they'd ignore the bandits and inflict a different type of injury on Joel. And that's a wrap for this video. What do you think of the latest tease? Do you think that Bill's character should be expanded on? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos just like this. We'll see you in the next one.